Welcome back to Drunk Storytime with Quefish. I am Quefish. I'm still just, gosh, I almost said slumming it, which, I mean, I guess compared to what I'm usually drinking is kind of slumming it. But yeah, I'm just doing beer today. So, I am doing some more from a story called Unfortunate Occurrences by Blue Sparkle. These are prompts from the Oh Lord Heal This server. And so, and this is another one story with, multiple different kinds of prompts. So I'm probably not going to be reading all of them. So I do hope that you go over to AO3 and read the rest of them, because obviously they are very funny, and give the author Blue Sparkle, give them some love, give them kudos, give them comments, feed the writer. Okay, so this is chapter 3, Corporate Interruptions. And the prompt is accidental discorporation. The little day trip to the sea was perhaps the first real date Crowley and Aziraphale had gone on, though neither was able to truly say the word out loud. Crowley because he still couldn't believe his luck. Aziraphale because he would start blushing and batting his eyelashes and seemed too happy to process it. It wasn't as if they hadn't gone out on dates before, but their relationship was still hesitant and shy, both getting used to what they now had. Their life hadn't really changed, other than familiar activities getting a decidedly romantic undertone, and that touching was very much allowed and appreciated. They drove down in the morning, enjoyed a wonderful walk in nature, had lunch at one of those little cafes Aziraphale had a knack for finding. I love little hole-in-the-wall places to eat. God, so good. And then wandered on to a fair with booths near the sea. It really was a lovely view, so Aziraphale suggested taking a small break. Crowley agreed, glad that the perfect spot had been found without his own input. They were free, and it was time to take the next step to solidify their status as being on their own side once and for all. Crowley had everything ready to go, and as Aziraphale turned from the balustrade to look at him, eyes crinkled in mirth and lips parting to say something about the beauty of the water, he knew that this was the right decision. Taking Aziraphale's hand in his, Crowley cleared his throat, smiling nervously. Angel, you're my best friend. You know that, yeah? He started, rubbing his thumb over Aziraphale's knuckles. He'd practiced that little speech, making sure he knew what to say and not stumble over the words. And I love you. More than I loved anyone in my immortal life. And he took a deep breath that he didn't need and sank down on one knee on the dusty path, ignoring what it did to his pants. Aziraphale had one hand clasped over his mouth, eyes shining with what Crowley hoped were tears of joy. Would you do me the honor of spending the rest of our eternity with me? Crowley dropped Aziraphale's hand to reach into his jacket pocket, producing the box that had dutifully refused to create weird lumps in his clothing all day. Snapping it open, Crowley presented the beautiful pale gold ring inside, hands shaking only slightly. Would you marry me, Aziraphale? Aziraphale made a tiny, choked noise that sounded a little like a confirmation. And if Crowley had had any doubts about this, then the angel's eager nodding and the way he was holding out his hand with fingers spread dispelled them. Thankfully, Crowley's hands behaved as he slid the ring onto Aziraphale's left ring finger, delighted by how well it fit and how it matched the colors of his coat. Oh, as if it was going to do any different than fit and match. That ring knows better. He couldn't help but preen as he watched Aziraphale bring his hand up to examine the ring, shoulders wiggling with his excitement. He'd spent ages trying to pick out the perfect one, and apparently he had succeeded. Oh, Crowley, Aziraphale sighed, finally dropping his hands to reveal his breathtaking smile. This is so beautiful. Several things happened at once. With his heartbeat rushing in his ears, Crowley was vaguely aware of the noises around him. The sea and the humans having fun, some of them paying attention to the occult and ethereal beings among them, as they were wont to do in private moments. Starting to rise to his feet, Crowley barely noticed that the sound changed. Aziraphale's eyes widened in surprise as he looked off and behind Crowley. Halfway between kneeling and standing, Crowley turned to look at what had startled the angel, hearing his soft, "Oh, look out, dear." What Crowley saw was a horse. Oh, like he needed any more reasons to not like horses. What Crowley saw was a horse dashing into his general direction, a brown one with lighter spots, but nevertheless of a size that made him grateful for the invention of cars. Weird. Those beasts ought to have riders, Crowley had time to think as he tried to take a step away from its path. His awkward pose, however, meant that trying to rise and walk at the same time meant that the tip of his shoe caught in the dirt, his balance slipped, and before Crowley even had finished falling backwards, a wall of solid equine muscle obscured everything in the world. Oh no! Hell's lobby was empty, as usual. The light bulbs just slightly too dim. The shitty TV in the corner perpetually playing the most boring shows available. And the low-ranking demons at the desk looked as if they were ready to fall asleep, or maybe even die of boredom. The appearance of such a prominent figure as the Serpent of Eden startled the two at the desk, a young one with tons of random strings and threads tied into her hair, and another who Crowley knew from being the demon for everything at the main office, hair brushed up into two horn-like peaks. Oh, Eric! Is that Eric? The disposable demon. Is that canon? Is his name actually Eric, or did fans just decide his name was Eric and now his name is Eric? Anyway, the receptionist had dropped a copy of whatever trashy magazine low-ranking demons spent their time on, and the other, Legion, jumped off the desk where he had been perched on to half hide behind her chair. "Master Crowley!" Receptionist demon exclaimed, something akin to awe on her face. "What are you doing here?" "Lord Beelzebub said you're strictly forbidden from entering hell." "Got into a little accident upstairs." Crowley shrugged and sauntered over to the two, who looked torn between displaying their amazement and cowering in fear. The lower-ranking demons all kind of worshipped his attitude and unique approach to things. "Just a spot of discorporation. Mind if I pop right back up?" Receptionist demon looked worried for a moment, her eyes flicking to her computer that was more tape and glue and unholy prayers than functional machine. Pretty sure we've all had one of those. "Not really supposed to do that," she said, chewing her lip, as Legion picked out a phone with a cracked screen to check notifications. "Lord Hastur is going to come right up to check on what's going on." Crowley let out a groan and bounced on his heels. He really didn't need that cherry of crap on top of his already not-so-great day. "Oh, come on. You know he's just going to let me go. Do you really need to have me go through that? I don't even need a proper corporation. Just fix up the one I had. I got run over by a horse, yeah, but it's not that bad." Both demons winced in sympathy. Receptionist demon looked at Crowley a moment longer, still unsure. He grinned at her, baring his teeth a little. You said so yourself. Lord Beelzebub doesn't want me here. We'll get in lots of trouble with them if you make me stick around longer just because some other lord wants to come see. He watched as both quickly calculated which of their bosses they wanted to upset less. Receptionist demon nodded and started clicking away at the sticky keyboard in front of her. Within moments, she had produced a fob to hand over, rusty and bronze green. Your corporation wasn't destroyed, so here's a permit to heal one full heal up. We'll probably have some aching joints for 2 to 10 business days, but equestrian manslaughter isn't bad enough for a brand new one. Never seen a horse up close, have you? Crowley asked as he snatched the fob up. Receptionist demon paled more than before. Ew, heaven no. Right, thought so. Crowley focused on where his old corporation was at and waltzed right back out of hell. Okay. I haven't read the rest of this. I haven't. This is a cold read. So because they called it a fob, I'm just picturing him going back upstairs and obviously he's incorporeal at this point, so just kind of getting over to his old body, just whoop whoop, being able to get back in. If that happens, I swear I'm gonna cry laughing. As expected, Crowley came into the bookshop, laid out on the comfortable couch that he has fallen asleep on more than once before. He was laid out as if he was resting, head on a pillow and blanket tucked around him. Oh, you're finally here. His angel's snappish voice rang from somewhere near him. Evidently, Aziraphale had noticed the moment a demonic presence settled in Crowley's body. With a groan, he rose up to sit, his body aching in all the places he assumed he'd made close contact with the horse. Sorry, had to negotiate my return a bit. Aziraphale was shuffling around in his little kitchenette, preparing cocoa and the sickly sweet herbal tea Crowley liked. The angel sounded upset with him, but clearly not enough to deny him comfort. What happened? Oh, sorry. What happened? Oh, I'm terribly cross with you. Everyone around us had been looking, thanks to your grand gesture. I had to pretend to be upset by my fiancé's potential demise in front of everyone. It was mortifying. I had to fake sadness, Crowley. I'm so embarrassed. Thankfully, I managed to convince the humans that you just needed to go to a hospital and miracled an ambulance to take you back here. I'm sorry, I can't get over that. I had to pretend to be upset by your death. It was mortifying. Crowley rose to his feet and wandered closer to Aziraphale, watching him put away the tea more forcefully than necessary. Honestly, Crowley, only you would ruin such a wonderful day with that. How dare you get run over by a horse? Crowley noticed that his ring was still on Aziraphale's hand, glinting beautifully in the light. He reached out to touch Aziraphale's arm, finding his angel tense, and as Crowley turned him around gently, clearly deeply upset. I'm so sorry, Angel, Crowley said, watching Aziraphale blink away any tears furiously. I wanted it to be perfect, and when I did mean it. I want to spend eternity with you, and one silly discorporation won't keep me away from you. I'll always return. Aziraphale's lip quivered, but he visibly relaxed. I was terribly worried when you were gone, he sniffed. And after such a lovely moment, too. Proposals are a cause for celebration, after all. At that, Crowley's reassuring smile turned into a sharp grin. Who says we can't still celebrate? He waggled his eyebrows, and Aziraphale's cheeks flushed in realization. They really hadn't been consummating their relationship much at all yet, all things considered. So watching Aziraphale react to such suggestions wasn't something Crowley had gotten the opportunity to get used to. He grasped Aziraphale's hand, feeling the new ring press against his skin. How about we test out my old new corporation upstairs? Oh no! What the fuck? The lobby was exactly as bright and unpleasant as it had been before, though now the TV was showing some sort of music program from the 90s. Well, it had to have been from the 90s because MTV doesn't play music anymore. The same two demons from earlier were there, plus a rather cranky-looking Haster. All three looked up in surprise to see Crowley appear, shirt and hair disheveled, sunglasses gone. What are you doing here? Haster shrieked, fear and rage rising at once. Didn't you just get out? Yeah, about that. Crowley coughed. He worked his jaw, still feeling the phantom. Oh my God. Still feeling the phantom sensation of the briny, sweet taste of Aziraphale's pleasure on his tongue, his no longer wet chin still aching from, what, got run over by another horse? Haster snapped, just as reception demons started typing away at the dingy computer. Nothing is fun, Crowley admitted. You can't just keep damaging your corporation and expect us to give you a new one or fix the old. Haster kept ranting. You're not even a proper demon anymore, but even you should be embarrassed. Receptionist demon's eyes widened. Her mouth dropped open. They probably have a record of how he died. She gestured to Legion, who glanced at her computer screen, and then both turned to Crowley with deep admiration. Actually, you'll find that our buddy Asmodeus explicitly stated how getting fucked to death is deeply admirable. Crowley informed his audience. Haster blinked once. Twice. Then his face went through a complicated set of emotions. He glanced at the other two demons, who nodded in confirmation, letting his face settle on a strange mix of disgust and pain. What? You? With the angel? You're disgusting! Crowley winked and made finger guns, stopping just in time to catch the new fob receptionist demon tossed him. Yeah, well, I've got some unfinished business waiting in my bed. Was fun catching up. Ciao. Haster's distressed sputtering followed Crowley back to earth. Oh my God. Crowley blinked his eyes open to the sight of a severely damaged wall. What? Which had been just tickety-boo when he was flying towards it at dangerously fast speeds earlier in the evening. His skull was still ringing from the impact, so it really must have just been a minute of haggling this time. Sitting on the bed was Aziraphale, face hidden in his hands, but clearly deeply mortified. His pants were still off, and his unbuttoned shirt was the only article of clothing on him. I'm so sorry, he whispered, voice hoarse from previous activities. Crowley looked at him, and then the wall again. The last thing he remembered was proving just how skilled his tongue could be, and then Aziraphale's leg twitching. And then, didn't know you were that strong, Crowley observed. Or that ticklish. Aziraphale peeked out from between his fingers. I just forgot myself, darling. You are terribly good at what you do. Crowley rose to his feet and found that his cock hadn't softened all that much for the minute he was gone. Want to give it another go? Or do we try to keep me alive? Ow! At that, Aziraphale lowered his hands and sat up a little primly. I suppose it would be safer if you tied me down for that. Best not risk another discorporation. Crowley blinked once and then grinned as he approached the bed. Of course. It's just reasonable safety measures after all. Oh my god. That's so good. Oh my god. The back of my head hurts. I was smiling so hard. Oh, Lordy Lou. That was hilarious. Oh god. What was this one called? Corporate Interruptions. In the Unfortunate Occurrences story by Blue Sparkle. I'm just reminded of that. There was a single panel comic done, like when I was a kid. I saw it, of Lois Lane giving Superman a blowjob, or rather the aftermath of Lois Lane trying to give Superman a blowjob because he kind of blew her across the room when he climaxed. And now I'm just picturing that. It sounded like he was like actually like flailing a little bit to, because he was ticklish and not, angel powered jizz shot. But oh my god, that is so funny. That was amazing. So please go read more. I think I might do one more video of this one. Maybe, I don't know. Let me see what I've got. So either way, please go and read all the rest. Give the writer some love. Feed the writer. Unfortunate Occurrences by Blue Sparkle. And the link is down there. So thank you very much for joining me. And I'll see you next time.